Okay, so good morning, everyone. How are you feeling today? Great. Anything else? Awesome. Okay. Excited, curious. What else? Rigid, chilled. Oh, cool, cool. Anything else? Oh, you didn't get had tea? Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, fine. And most of you attended yesterday this conference. Okay, so how was the day yesterday? Fantastic. Fantastic. What else? Just think for, take a pause for a minute, just see what all you did yesterday. How was your day yesterday? You know, and maybe try to recollect everything that happened in your life, you know, and maybe you want to say something. How was it? Enlightening, okay. Disappointment, okay. Exploration, okay, good. Energetic. No, that is fine. Irritated, unhappy. Okay, good, good. I think, yeah, that's good enough. Yeah, that's what the topic is, right? So it is good to see that, I don't see too many negative emotions. Most of these are positive emotions. So that's the great start of the day, right? We need to start our day with great enthusiasm. So thanks for sharing your feelings. So it's all about we are human beings, right? Living organisms. They have feelings, they have emotions, right? And we express our emotions in different ways. So before we get started with today's session, maybe I would like you to just think for a minute, maybe half a minute, and think about what is your understanding, about a high performing team. When we say, this high performance teams is a very common, no, nowadays quite oftenly used word. So I just want you to think for a minute and put down some of the things that comes to your mind when we talk of high performing team. Trust, collaborative, self-sustained, happy, engaged, okay, result oriented, productive, sorry, fun loving, okay, negligible defect, high quality, delivering high quality all the time. Okay, open to communication or open communication, not open to. There is a difference between open to communication and open communication. Okay, empowered. Okay, ready to accept feedback. Okay, I think, yeah, we got enough. I don't know whether you can read my, writing on this. So among all these things, what you think conveys the emotions? Trust, happy, fearless, uh, okay, fun loving, correct? So collaboration, okay, yeah. If the emotions are, positive emotions, then yes, we can expect. with the emotions, right? So feedback would be an output of emotions, right? Respect, correct. So these are all the things that comes to our mind when we talk of high performing team, right? uh, in addition to this, if you look, if you hear your management of you, or if you hear your leadership, the kind of things that they will expect you, that a high performing team should be cross functional, t-shaped people with t-shaped skill, very good at CI/CD, delivering things faster, you know these are the thoughts that comes to, these are the things that your leadership is likely to talk about, right? They should have zero quality, someone mentioned about high quality, delivering on time, high customer satisfaction, they should upskill themselves, in all the technical areas. So these are all the things that will be that you will hear from your leadership, correct? So I will quickly show you, though it is not directly related, but a very nice video that I really liked about what it means to work in a team. And then,
It's smarter to travel in groups.
right, so what do we learn from this video? No, it's fine. So she is expressing her feeling, you know, that, okay, what does she feel after watching this video? Take the bus, okay? Travel in a group, take the bus. So that is the message that she takes from this video. What else we feel after watching this video?
Help each other.
Okay,
You can overcome challenges by working together.
okay, right. So there are, as I said, right, there is when we say, okay, before I start, how many of you heard about emotional intelligence before? Wow, quite. So may I know what is meant by emotional intelligence? Those who raise their hands. A lot of people, in fact, almost 90% of the people I saw over here, they raise their hands. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, right? So that is what the topic is about. When I say that we talk about high performance team, we do say these things, but how many times do we really, implement these things in our, project? It's very easy to talk these things, but how do we inculcate emotional intelligence into our team, right? There is a difference between emotions and being emotional intelligent. Can you differentiate, what could be the difference between emotions and being emotionally intelligent? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Correct. 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 Yes, absolutely. right? So you have, emotional intelligence is something which is there in our day-to-day life. It is not just related to work, but emotional. When we talk of emotional intelligence, each one of us, whether it's a kid, it's a toddler, or teens, or grown-up people, or elderly people, we all are going through different emotions, right? And how do we handle ourselves in our day-to-day life, and how do we deal with these emotions is very, very important. And that's what makes you a person you are. Okay, whatever you are, how do you react to the situation, how do you respond to the situation, that makes you an emotionally intelligent person, correct? So if you see, in the morning also, in fact since yesterday there were a lot of things that we came across which were related to this, not emotional intelligence, but some emotions were expressed by, we talked about motivation, we talked about self management, a lot of things we spoke, we heard from different, you want to say something? Yeah, so we will come to that, right? And that's a very good point that I just want to, so there are two things when we say, be, emotional and emotionally intelligent. So when you react immediately to a situation without giving too much of a thought, that is being, emotional. Normally, emotions, that is reaction, without giving any thought. And that reaction could be sometimes good, sometimes it may not be good also. But you have just, reacted to this situation, maybe to a person or maybe to an event. Whereas respond means you're not immediately reacting, you are taking a pause, you are taking some time thinking about how do I react, how should I respond to the situation. It's not an immediate reaction to something. So when a person is responding, he or she has given some thoughts and then accordingly has, responded to the situation. So for example, when I said, what you understand from this video, so maybe some people immediately said something, whereas some people probably took some time and then they thought, okay, what this video was trying to convey, and then they responded to the situation, right? So when I asked you, how are you feeling today, or what was your day yesterday, or what do you mean by a high performance team? Maybe some of you immediately reacted, maybe some of you thought, okay, what it actually means to be, a part of high performing team, and then you took some conscious, thoughts around it, and then you express yourself. So that would be a difference between your reacting immediately to a situation and responding is generally not immediately saying something without giving a thought. So that is the main difference. And when we say emotions and emotional intelligence, so normally emotions generally has a negative connotations. When I say, oh, he's an emotional person, I may think, oh, I will have to be a little bit careful when I deal with him. I don't know how he is going to react. So that is generally a negative connotation somehow people have attached with emotions. You know, people are generally charged up, they express their emotions, correct? These emotions could be good sometimes, sometimes this could be, these emotions may not be those, that good. So that is the difference between, being differentiating between emotions and being emotionally intelligent. Emotionally intelligent people will not react to the situation immediately. So yeah.
I differ. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
If you get a present from your husband and if you think and react, do you think we'll like it? So there is a spontaneity in everything. So
Correct.
that's, I understood your definition. I really feel that we are human beings. Let's not say reaction is bad and response is
No,
good.
I'm not.
And reflection is the more deeper monk side of the thing. Everything is important.
Yeah, yeah, everything is important. No, 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 I'm just saying that. Correct, correct. I'm just saying that some many times the connotation that is associated with emotions is that it is generally has that negative thing. I am, when I say I'm an emotionally, I'm an emotional person. Maybe people will say that she may not take things positively, or she gets hurt very easily, or she is not able to come out of the situations easily. Generally, that's a very general perception. Yeah. Yeah, many a time. Correct. That is true. Correct. And some right. Sometimes if I get,
Your emotional intelligence has to work differently, and
correct.
with your husband or a boyfriend or your family
No, no, I
has
will
to
tell
work
you.
differently.
Again,
So that's
I'll tell you.
that's
If
where
the
response and
if the team is achieving something, suppose I'm a team member and I have actually finished the meeting yesterday, which nobody was expecting. I come in the morning and say, we did the check-in. The first reaction comes from the team is done.
Yeah, so that's situational because the situation is
Exactly.
the
That's
situation
what
is, you know,
Yeah,
it has
correct.
achieved something. So that's what I mean when I say it's situational.
Right, right.
What I think is the difference between being emotional and emotionally intelligent is an emotional person gets overwhelmed by the situation and then reacts out of overwhelm. An emotionally intelligent person, he or she goes through the exact same emotions but never gets
Overwhelmed, absolutely. Maybe, correct, correct. So thanks for that explanation. So if you see, our life is pretty much surrounded by different emotions, and we express it through various mediums. Social life is, the social media has in fact made it even more, expressive. Has made it more expressive for us for ourselves. Maybe through WhatsApp or maybe through Facebook, we immediately express ourselves. In fact, maybe it might have kind of disconnected also people from expressing themselves face to face. Whatever, even if I and my husband probably live in the same house, I will still wish him through Facebook, maybe on his birthday or on our anniversary, or those kind of things, right? So we are now so much, probably emotions were always there, but we are with these kind of things that are around, we are expressing ourselves more better way, or more, I don't know whether better or not. Sometimes what you want to convey may not necessarily get conveyed properly, right? Correct. Yeah. Correct. So we are not going to talk emotional intelligence in personal life, or with how it relates to student, or how it relates to parents or kids, etc. We are going to focus more about emotional intelligence at workplace, right? So we can have emotional intelligence which are positive, sorry, emotions which are positive emotions, and there are emotions which are negative emotions, correct? So what kind of positive emotions we do see at workplace? These are all the things we spoke, right? Happy, fun loving, fearless, or very motivated. Those are all the positive emotions that we see at workplace. And there are some negative emotions also. What kind of negative emotions we can come across? The opposite of those things, right? Right. Having fear, or being dejected, or not feeling very enthusiastic about doing work. Those are all the different, and there are mostly hatred, jealousy, right? These are all the different kind of emotions that we see at workplace, correct? So, yeah, as she said, probably yes, if I get that unexpected promotion, I will be too much excited, right? And I was expecting a promotion, but I didn't get that. Whereas my colleague, probably we were doing the same kind of work, but my colleague got that promotion. I may feel a little bit dejected, correct? Similarly, when our demo goes very well, you know, uh, and we all feel very excited about that as well, right? And if instead of doing all the hard work, if the demo doesn't go well and there were just too many comments from the product owner, we kind of probably feel dejected a little bit, right? So these are all the positive and the negative emotions that we see in a team, correct? So we need to be aware about the different emotions that different people in a team can go through. We are no longer working in teams which are small. We are working with diverse background, people with diverse background, different culture, big teams, and dealing with so many people with different kind of emotion is very, very difficult. And on top of that, building a team which will be high performing after managing all these emotions takes a little bit of time and practice, a conscious practice to work on those emotions. Now, so so what is emotions? So emotions are nothing but a state of feeling that are often intense, maybe positive or negative, right? And maybe last for short time, and these are generally directed or caused by someone or some circumstances. Okay, so these are normally short-lived, feelings that a particular person or a human being can have. Correct. So finally, what do we mean by emotional intelligence? So Peter Salve and John Mayer, these are the two pioneers in terms of emotional intelligence. They are the ones who coined this word. It is not that emotional intelligence concept as such did not exist before. It is just that they give it a formal meaning to it. And later on, it was Daniel Goleman. In fact, if you read more about Daniel, he is supposed to be the one who actually made it very popular. His book on emotional intelligence has made record sale, and he is kind of now considered as the father of emotional intelligence. And how so emotional intelligence, we spoke different things about it. So finally, what these gentlemen are saying, that emotional intelligence is nothing but managing yourself, understanding first understanding your emotions, managing your emotions, and expressing them in a manner that will not impact others. So that is very, very important. First understand yourself, you know take time to understand your emotions and express it in such a fashion that it will not impact others. And hence emotional intelligence is one of the things which is one of the, I would say, building blocks when we talk of high performing teams. In fact, there are a lot of research or a lot of studies which has shown that teams which has got high emotional intelligence, those teams have performed much, much better than teams which had people with low EQ, right? So emotional intelligence might be called as EI or EQ. So that is what teams, if you want to have those kind of higher performance, people with great attitude, great energy, then you have to work on their emotional intelligence part as well. You have to take care. You have to respond to such a situation that it does not impact them in a negative manner. Okay. So social intelligence, so it is all about social intelligence. So this is very, very important ability word. So it is the capability or an ability of an individual, how he or she can monitor self emotion as well as others emotions as well. And in doing so, how do you reach your common goals, right? In teams, we all talk about common goals, right? Teams are supposed to have common goals. So in this process, by managing your emotions and by managing your team members' emotions, how do you together reach that common goal? So that is what is emotional intelligent, right? Being able to understand your feelings, being able to understand and manage others' feeling, and then responding to the situation accordingly. And it's not like, okay, being angry or being very immediately reacting to a certain situation without giving a good thought over it. Okay. So as per Daniel, there are five domains of emotional intelligence. So first is on self-awareness. I don't know if it is readable or not. So that is the first. There are five domains of emotional intelligence that you need to be aware of. And it's not just about, I would say, thinking about team all the time. Even you can relate these things to yourself as an individual. And I think if every individual think about these things, these five things, I think as a team we will definitely be a more, emotionally intelligent team and be able to do much better work. Correct? So the first is the self-awareness. Do I have self-confidence? Am I doing the right and honest assessment of myself? Or do I live in a false, impression about myself? I may not be good at certain things, but I always kind of trying to put myself, instead of working on my weaknesses, I'm always kind of trying to, you know, convince myself, no, 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 I'm really good on this. So the first thing is about being self-aware. Even before you start judging others or trying to think about others, first think about yourself. As a person, how you are, how do you react to situations? How do you, talk to people? How do you communicate with people? So that is the first thing. So ability to recognize, understand your moods and emotions, your strengths and weaknesses, and its impact on the team. So right, there are certain managers who we really like, and there are certain managers who we really don't like, right? And JP talked about this 360-degree feedback yesterday in his session, correct? And where he see that there was one team who really gave very low feedback or rating to one of the managers, whereas there was another team who gave very high feedback to the manager. So why would these things happen? Maybe in this situation there was this manager who was taking care of the team, who was handling their emotions, probably, maybe consciously, unconsciously we do all these things. It is not that I tell, oh, I have to be an emotionally intelligent person, this is the situation, this is what I have to do, and hence I should be doing rightly. we do take actions as per our consciousness. It is just that going forward, maybe we work more proactively on working on these dimensions. So the first is about self awareness. So it is very important, being self aware and its impact on others. The second is around self management. Am I able to control, am I able to manage, or is it like, okay, I always immediately react to the situation? Do I get angry, or do I get handle the situation properly? How do I manage self management? If given a critical situation, what are my actions, what those actions do to the team? That is about self management, being able to control your emotions, impulses, and taking a rational decision, and then accordingly helping the team through the tough times. So that is about self management. Then this is very important, social skills. So teamwork is nothing but it's all about social skill, right? How do we interact with people? And it is about leading the change. Do you have those expertise in building teams? Okay, can you channelize the energy of your team in the right direction? Correct. And how do you move people, how do you motivate people in the desired direction, so that they can deliver the kind of output that you expect? So that is, social skill is again an important the third dimension in this. The fourth is the empathy, right? Ability to consider. So this is very important, as she mentioned, right? Emotional intelligence about showing empathy. And again, there is the difference between sympathy and empathy. Okay, being sympathetic is a different thing, and being empathetic to a situation is different thing. So sympathy is you are trying to create a very bichara situation for the person. Maybe you had a breakup, and then you're going, oh, it's so bad that you broke up with your girlfriend. I can understand your feeling. Girls are like that only. Those kind of creating that sympathetic situation. Whereas a person who has more empathy, he will say, it happens. There is nothing bad to feel about it. Life moves on, and ये नहीं तो कल कोई और आ जाएगी. But encouraging the person. Correct? So that is the difference between empathy and sympathy. And finally is the motivation. So yesterday we talked about, we had this session from Pratham Engineers. I think that was one of the sessions which probably has expressed all kind of feelings that we can see in the world, right? That one question that Vijay asked, what was the motivation for these people, to maybe IITians, right? They could have very well taken a US job, taken that paying in dollars, and they could have always desired to go US just like any other person has that ambition. But they had some different motivation, right? I don't recall the name of that young person, but he said, right, that adrenaline rush, that was the motivation for him, right? So do you have this kind of passion and motivation in your team? How do is it really inborn in a person, or is it something that drives a person? So are you a leader who can create this motivation? What is the goal for that person to be with your team? What is the purpose that person has to be motivated? Day in, day out, we work. It's not easy to keep ourselves motivated. Every sprint, every 2 weeks, some new thing is coming up, and you don't know where you are going. Do you provide that vision to the team members? Where are we supposed to go? How are you motivating your people? Right? So that is very, very important. So it is like you should have passion to go beyond money and status. Then only you can create that motivation. If motivation is only salary and promotion, then those are very short-lived motivation. Probably today you will get salary hike and promotion, but that will be again short-lived. There has to be something different. You should see a purpose and cause, and are you able to infuse that cause in your team as a leader? That is very important. Okay. So this is all that you are likely to see as benefits if you can work on the emotional intelligence part of your team, right? You can see people who are well motivated. You can probably see people who want to be part of the team. They don't want to leave the team. They want to be associated with the team. So maybe less attrition or turnover. That is again a big problem that we have. Correct. And there are reasons why people leave the team, right? So what kind of environment you can create for them to be associated with the team? So why it is important? So we talk so much about emotional intelligence, why it is important, other than these things. Yeah, correct. Okay, so Dr. Travis Bradbury is another well-known name in the emotional intelligence space. What he says that 90% of the top performance, they generally have high EQ. Or the leaders that you see in the world, they generally have shown time and again qualities which have demonstrated that they were able to manage situations and their teams very well in the challenging times. Again, he's saying that EQ is responsible for 58% of your job performance. In fact, many times you will see situations wherein, I don't know, but there are situations where someone keeps on poking in your work, right? He or she keeps on, monitoring your time. Oh, she comes to the office at 11 o'clock, she leaves the office at 5 o'clock. He or she will keep on asking, oh, what is the status of your, in spite of all the agile and all that stuff we talk about. But there are people who have got this habit to keep a minute track of micromanagement still continues, right? That is one set of people. But there are some set of people who are generally very confident that, okay, if I'm giving this work to this person, I'm very sure that that person will get done and I'm there to help that person, right? Generally, these are the kind of people you will prefer. And these are the people then who go up the ladder and not the kind of people who will have this negativity in the team. Okay?
Pooja, just want to understand. Uh, I think this is the issue, right, in the industry where you cannot retain the talent provided you can give them a number of things, right? Secondly, you can try to motivate them, however, generally that does not exist, right? So, can we maybe give some example of the how part? How do we ensure that that individual can be motivated to come on the office, especially on Monday morning, which is a blue, right? And he is generally motivated not by the organization, not by the project, not by the individual, but he himself is inspired to motivate others to come in the project.
Yes, yes. In fact, we can talk about it, but I will still recommend you if you want answers to this thing. And we have done this exercise. There is this technique called, it is a little bit off topic, maybe you will have to give me 2 minutes. There is this topic called as moving motivators by Jagan Appilu. We know that person, right? Management 3.0. And he talks about some intrinsic motivators and extrinsic motivators. And he says that these motivators keeps on changing in our life. And there is a very good exercise where we tell people, okay, list down what are the things which motivates you, and if a situation occurs, what will be the impact of that situation on these, let's say, 5 motivating factors you have mentioned. And if this is a situation, how this situation is going to impact your motivation. And then you will see, okay, their motivation starts changing. So it's a very good exercise I will recommend. We can talk about it, which can help you to find out. In fact, this is I will all of you recommend, search for moving motivators and do this exercise with your team, and you will figure out what are those things that motivates my team. And then as a scrum master, as a project manager, or as a leader, then you can figure out what are the things that I need to do so that I can try to keep my team motivated. So it's altogether a very different thing, but we can talk about it more later on.
We did actually an exercise within our team, right? So we just tried to figure it out. So we did not go into the details of it, but at least what is that apart from money and promotion, right? Apart from these benefits, what is that which motivates you, or what are the emotions? We tried to map them, right? And these are the areas where you should not venture out, right? So particularly, right, some people get angry if you make some kind of comments. So if that is known within the team, that would build a harmony, right? And someone is, even just for the sake of trying to, press that button which you don't like, then that creates a disaster.
Correct. So this is an exercise that I will recommend you that you try, and you will figure out what are the different things that motivates my team, and then accordingly you can take some action.
Add on to that, just don't do this exercise only once. Keep on doing it with your team time and again, because it's not one-time job to keep on motivating. Do it after 3 months or 4 months, whenever you get this kind of opportunity, or if you feel like there is a motivation down. Don't wait for that situation to happen. Just talk to your team. It's your team. give them freedom, give them ownership. That's the main important thing if you want to have them. Listen to them is the most. Maybe you may not be able to react, or maybe you are not able to take the action on their what they want. But
at least you will get to understand them.
Listening to them, allowing them to express their opinion, what they want is important. Thing is like, I am in a situation, I have lots of things on my mind. But if someone allows me to vent out those emotions or whatever I'm thinking, it's most of the thing is gone because it's went out of my mind and I'm cool, I'm normal again. So that's way of handling it. Don't get involved into that emotional drama or things, mostly when you are in the conflicting situation as well. As a Scrum Master, I'll say listen to them, but don't get involved into those emotions, because once you get involved into that, you are part of that drama happening and you are bound to take a wrong decision, so you're going to respond in a such a way.
But that is what this is about, right? How do you, emotional intelligence is all about how do you then handle, because you still have a task at your hand, right? So that is about this thing. And again, research has shown that, we all want intelligent people. The moment a boy or a girl is born, immediately people, parents start thinking about, that famous Three Idiots movie, right? Even if before the child is born, the parents have already decided a boy engineer, if it's a girl, or then she has to be a doctor, right? So our society is so much surrounded with this being intelligent, right? But again, research and studies have shown that your intelligent quotient actually is just 20% of what you can be in life. It is the rest of the 80% that makes reach those ladders of life. So, and unfortunately, this is the 80% that we generally don't work on. All the time that we think, oh, I have to hire a scrum master, that scrum master should have these many skills, right? So, for some other reasons, we have to see that it is the EQ, which is the 80% of a person, which we have to work and build on. Okay?
I have a question on that. So, I was reading a very interesting quote that even this is not enough for a successful team. And there's a third dimension which is added now, which is the spiritual quotient. So what they say is that 100%, when you said 20% is intelligent quotient, we were under the impression all these years, maybe it's a topic for some other day, some other conference, there's a third dimension to this, which is the spiritual quotient. So I might be intelligent person, I might be a very good emotional quotient, but if my spiritual quotient is low, and by the way, I'm not saying that we have to all become Ramdev Baba. So spiritual quotient is something totally different. If I'm not spiritually quotient, again this problem would get magnified at that level. As I said,
yeah, the new dimension that is coming into picture. Yeah, thanks. Correct. Yeah, so this is more of a just introductory topic, because emotional intelligence is a very big topic. This is just a trailer for you, I would say, that we can all of us can work on. And so finally, why it is important for team, why you should think about having highly emotionally. We started at 10:30, by the way, okay? Let me tell you that. I didn't get the first 15 minutes, I know, but I will try to wrap up. So Google's Aristotle project, I don't know how many of you have heard about it, but it's a very famous project that Google did. They studied the teams. Google is supposed to be one of the top ones who take care of their employees, or who have got good teams in place. Project Aristotle says that psychological safety is the first thing that people care about, that people talk about. They had 5 findings from their project, and the topmost was that what people look for in a team is the psychological safety. Is that person working in that project without any fear, without being judged for whatever he or she is doing, and are mistakes allowed, or those kind of things. Okay, so yeah, teams with high IQ are better at motivating team members each other. They can they can help each other. And you have to understand that when we work in a social environment, emotions do flare up. There are heated arguments, and it can lead to lack of empathy, where you say that everything keep aside, this is a task that you have to do, and they get it done at any cost, at any whatever it takes to get that done. And then you also have people, and it's very again, the thing is that we know that in a team, these are the 1 or 2 people who carry the maximum burden of the work, right? These are the top performers who generally have been loaded with a lot of expectation, whereas the rest of the team members, they generally do whatever they have been told. It's very difficult to find out teams where everyone is equally motivated and equally contributing. Normally, the most of the teams that we talk of, correct? And finally, we have to understand that why high EQ is important, right? In the morning, as admin said that we are working with millennial generation. We used to work in silos earlier, but today it's more about collaboration. And when we talk of collaboration, it's all about social skills, how you interact with people, and hence it becomes more important that you work on your interpersonal skills. So that is why, because of this, it is very important that you should think about making your team more emotionally intelligent. So how do you know if your team is emotionally intelligent? Again, probably the same thing, whether they are able to help each other or not, whether they take a positive thing from the difficult situation, how they come out with different solutions under trying circumstances, correct? How do they see the positive thing? How do they see opportunities in the things that are not going in the right direction? So some of the things, some of the signs, again, you can check, you can try to relate if this is something that you can see in your team. And if not, probably this is something, then they have the ability to read non-verbal communication. They can figure out, okay, what is going on in that person's mind. Just reading the face, that person can make out, okay, does this person need my help or not? They don't let negative emotions to dominate the discussions. No, heated arguments, good debate is fine, but that doesn't flare up further. Optimistic, they are always realistic. It's not okay, oh, this is just not possible. They are realistic, but of course, take and intrinsically motivated. Again, the same thing, extrinsic motivation and intrinsic motivation. They are fired up, right, to do something. They have a purpose in what they do. They see a purpose in their acts. They have high level of empathy with fellow colleagues. They express themselves freely without being judged. It is not that, okay, if I don't know something, and it's not that I'm not asking for help, I'm allowed to ask for help. It is not somebody going to say, oh, you have been working on this project for 2 years and still you don't know how to solve this problem. So these are not the kind of conversations you have. Okay? And then ability to manage each other's feelings. So these are the signs of team. If you see that these are the signs you see in your team, then yes, probably your team is already there. But if you have something like this, signs of a low EQ team, where emotional dishonesty, you have something else in your mind, but you are saying something else. On your face, you actually talking something else, correct? Avoids responsibility, you are always trying to say, oh, this task can be taken up by this. I'm generally comfortable with something that I can finish. I'm not ready to take something which are challenging tasks, okay? Because I want to play safe. That is the kind of thought process they are likely to have. Socialization, again, pairing, working somebody, again, yesterday talk about pair programming. I generally have an affinity to work with someone who I like. I generally may not be socializing with other team members, and it happens, especially in large teams. Okay, socialization is kind of an issue. Okay, they carry grudges. Oh, this was not done for me. I wanted to get this done, but they didn't do it. And these are all the other, signs that you can see that can be associated with teams with low EQ. I think we really have to. So, how do you create emotional intelligent teams? The first thing is get a leader who is good at it, right? These are all the qualities that you should be able to see in your leader. And if you have got a leader, I think the half of the work is already done. Okay. Then identify the team's strengths and weaknesses. What are the none of us are perfect, right? We have our own this thing. Spark passion, motivation. Tell them what is the purpose they see in this, and develop creative ways to manage the stress is one of the things that is most relevant in our work, and let the team have voice. These are just some of the steps. I'm not saying this is just a Bible for you, but these are some of the steps that you can think of taking to build that thing. Okay, so I think just like willpower and other things, you can always improve on your EQ. It takes time, it takes some practice. Whatever feelings you have, note it down, and you can think, how can I take further actions on it? So emotional intelligence is required. It will help you to excel in your professional and personal life if you consciously work on it. So yeah, finally that's all I have. A very brief introduction to emotional intelligence. You just have to keep in mind that you are dealing with people who have got emotions. Logic always doesn't necessarily work. Okay. So with that, I'm really thankful for patiently listening. I hope there was something for us to take out of this. something a different topic. But yeah, this is equally important to build high performing team. Are you missing that emotional intelligence? That is something for you to reflect back. Okay, thank you very much.